Alright, what's going on guys, and welcome back to Monster Tamer News, the segment on this channel where we go over the last week's developments in the world of monster taming. Now, this week we have what I can only call, in my personal opinion, the finalization of the rug pull of a previous Kickstarter monster taming game that raised over 200 grand. We've got the release date of Aethermancer coming around the corner, news about Palworld's full release, a new FPS squad-style monster taming game, and more. So make sure to sit back, relax, subscribe for more monster taming content, and let's dive in. Okay, so first of all, we have Aethermancer releasing on Steam in early access on September 23rd. This is the spiritual successor to Monster Sanctuary that takes the pixel art to the absolute next level, and honestly is one of the few roguelike monster taming games that I'm actually personally really interested in playing. I'm not a big roguelike guy, but this one definitely is able to really shine. I was lucky enough to get an early key, so stay tuned for some exclusive gameplay before launch. Okay, so we recently got the launch of a new Kickstarter campaign for a game called Ballbuds, which apparently is a monster taming game for grown-ass adults, as they put it. The game basically is an open-world FPS RPG where you can collect 150 different Ballbuds, each having a regular form and a nighttime undead form that you can get at night. Combat will allow for up to 3 monsters at a time. They'll fight alongside you in sort of like a shooter squad, and it's honestly kind of interesting. We will definitely have to wait and see how development goes, but it's overfunded right now, sitting at about 100,000 Canadian as of the time of recording this video. The Palworld developers recently put out a video discussing their future plans for 1.0, and we got confirmation that the game will be fully releasing in 2026, which is pretty nice to see. I definitely have not dived into Palworld since initial launch, and this looks like a good excuse to maybe go back in. I'm personally not super crazy about survival games, if I'm being honest. I played Palworld mostly like I would an RPG. I spent a lot of time like exploring and fighting, and only spent the amount of time I had to with my base. I even turned drop rates up and stuff like that because I didn't like the grindiness behind it. And I just feel like going back to it after so long feels daunting because I feel like I forgot a lot of the mechanics. There's been some changes, and I don't even remember what I was up to before I left. Either way, I definitely will be diving in at some point, so stay tuned for that. Okay, so this is a topic that could realistically be its own video, so I'm going to give the sort of off-the-cuff short version of this, but a few years ago at this point, there was a game called Untamed Isles that was promoted as an open-world MMO experience where you could have battles right in the overworld. The game was going to have proximity chat, a fully functional quest system, a hybrid fusion/crossbreeding system. The battle system was going to be highly competitive. In fact, they had recruited Wolfie VGC at the time to help with their combat system, and even more. For a lot of people at the time, there was a sentiment that Temtem, while being an MMO, kind of felt like an MMO light, in that it's basically just a single player game where people just happen to be walking around, but this game felt a lot more like it was going to be a true MMO like RuneScape or WoW. Anyways, the game raised over $200,000. However, unfortunately, the game never came to fruition and is now essentially dead. Now, at the time of the Kickstarter campaign, this was way back when NFTs and crypto was really trendy, and at least for myself and a lot of other people, we didn't really know what the implications of such a game would be, because this was like when the trend was kind of on the up and a lot of people didn't really know. We were promised that there was essentially going to be a separate version of the game on Steam that had crypto and NFT involvement, and that they were going to be implementing these systems in order to essentially have the ability to like trade items on a market, transfer items to future projects, etc. Another game called Chain Monsters that was also supposed to be a monster taming MMO had pretty much the same prerogative, and that game's pretty much been shelved as well. Anyways, when crypto crashed, a lot of these games ended up either losing their funding because their investors pulled out or their crypto lost its value or whatever. During that time, Untamed Isles essentially announced that the game would be handed off to another studio, which in my personal opinion was just a way for the lead developer to wash his hands of the game and basically have no responsibility for delivering the product. Well, this new studio that's had the game for a while recently announced that they were going to see if Untamed Isles was viable, and it's totally not. So they're instead launching a new game called Loot. Needless to say, I have zero trust in any game that has any sort of association with NFTs or crypto. None of them ever come to fruition. A lot of them require sketchy third-party downloads, and I wouldn't even be surprised if they're using your computer to mine crypto or something. I get tons of questions why I don't cover certain games, and this is usually why. Now, they did state that they will be providing support for those that backed the initial game, but I want to know what that support even means. Does that mean you're going to be giving refunds? Because I even spent a decent chunk of money backing this project because I thought the game looked cool. And while it's easy for a lot of people to have no sympathy for those that bought into like random meme coins and stuff like that, this was a video game that people wanted to see be made, and most had little, if not no knowledge of NFTs or crypto, or that they were even in the thing, because it's not like the NFTs and crypto were on the front page. It was kind of like way down the Kickstarter. You'll find this with a lot of these games. They hide the fact that they have crypto and NFTs unless they're directly communicating with those types of people that are into that stuff. Anyways, whether it be the original developers or the new ones, whoever is responsible for Untamed Isles right now, I think you guys owe everyone a refund. Kickstarter is a great way for small developers who are truly passionate about video games to finally get funding to make an amazing experience. Monster Sanctuary was a Kickstarter game. It was amazing and still one of the best monster taming games ever, for example. Serialum Ultimate was also a great Kickstarter game, and the dev's been delivering way beyond what he promised years after the game come out, just because he's passionate. There are countless other games inside the genre and outside as well. Whichever way you slice it, these games that don't deliver what they promised end up making people lose faith in Kickstarter games as a whole. I don't even back Kickstarter games to the same extent I used to. Doesn't help that I've been kind of broke, but that's besides the point. This is a problem that exists in monster taming and other genres, even outside of gaming. And in gaming, there have been a ton of games that do this, scummy crypto integration or not. Anyways, on a lighter note, this next update is courtesy of Seablade on our Discord server. There is a brand new Humble Bundle available for roughly 16 USD. It contains 8 games and is specifically dubbed the Critter Bundle. Specifically for the topic of this channel, we've got Coromon, Casepis, Temtem, and Moonstone Island. That's an insane value for those 4 games alone, so I do recommend checking this out. We got a couple of quick updates as well. Moonstone Island added character customization. The game's been out for 2 years and the devs are still adding updates, which is cool. But Moonstone Island 2 when, am I right? Also, Beastie Ball devs have had a major update, bringing forth a new defensive challenge mode as they work towards the transition from early access to eventual full access. And that's pretty much it this week. Make sure to subscribe to the channel to stay up to date on all things monster taming. This is your one-stop shop for news, guides, breakdowns, etc. Also, don't forget to check out Twitter, Discord, Patreon, all that fun stuff, and special thanks to our supporters, especially Tragsoft, Valorware, Wrathful Beast, Nemo, and Candy Marunci. And I'll see you next time. Peace.